Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I'm Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and today we are going over the Baltimore Ravens picks from our 7-round mock draft. We did a entire mock draft, all 250 something picks, and so these will be the Ravens selections. But before we do that, if you like Ravens content, be sure to ring that bell. As Ryan and I, we do 3-round and 7-round mock drafts for every single NFL team. So to get notified when the Ravens mock drafts come out, be sure to ring that bell. And if you like our content, you want to see this channel keep growing, and we kind of keep growing our community, help us out and try and reach our goal of 3,000 by the end of the combine by hitting that subscribe button. It's super easy. It's the easiest way to help us out. So quickly orient you a little bit on what you're seeing here. We wanted to provide some context on what players were still available. So even to the right, you can see some of the other potential options of players that we feel like they could take at the 30th selection overall, and there are other picks as well. And then who actually ended up selecting them. So here we ended up going, there were so many different routes. In the way the mock draft worked out, there was a run of 3 receivers from 26 to 28, and then another run of receivers from 31 to 33. And the Ravens absolutely could have taken one of those receivers. I know we've drafted Keon Coleman to them a lot. It kind of had that big X receiver, something different that they have. But also, too, as well, we thought maybe there were some pieces that on the defensive side of the ball that they could go. And I do like a guy like Enos Rakestraw. Is this something that I think they would do? I'm not as convinced. I feel like they would honestly rather go with the skill position player more than the defensive side of the ball. But I think one of the things, though, too, with Mike McDonald leaving, they have so many defensive free agents as well, especially in the quarterback position. We thought that this would be a place where they would still go and get the guy. Because, too, after this as well, it starts to become slim pickings a little bit when it comes to secondary kind of throughout the draft. It's very top-heavy in the cornerback position. So What's your overall thoughts on the selection, on Enos Rakestraw, and some other things you think the Ravens can do?
Yeah, on the selection, I think it makes sense. I think you look at the weakness of this Ravens team, and I think the secondary outside of Marlon Humphreys, who has been injured and is getting older, what was probably the weakest point. I know Kyle Hamilton had a great year. I'm kind of excluding him. I'm excluding him from this because he was an all-pro safety, but I think you look at the cornerback position, and they definitely need an upgrade there. I think Enos Rakestraw has shown first-round traits on tape, just with his ability to be sticky in man coverage. He's a little bit of a ball hawk. He didn't allow a single touchdown. And I forget if he played 7 or 9 games this year in the SEC, but played against really high level competition. He looked good doing it. And I think that in itself warrants him up here at the top of this cornerback class.
Yeah. So I'm fairly confident he played 9 total. So
9 total.
Yeah, and so
okay,
but yeah, I can agree with that. Where the defensive front and the front 7 were so good for Baltimore, where it maybe kind of masked. And I feel like maybe we're being picky just because this Baltimore team as a whole was really good. But if there was a weakness overall on this whole Baltimore team, I do think it was the secondary outside of Kyle Hamilton.
When you're the most balanced team in the NFL, you kind of have to be picky because if you're not picky, then you're not going to find the holes, I think, where you really need to improve. And I think you look, this cornerback position is either very old or not super great. And so I also heard Marlon Humphreys is a potential cut candidate, and he could move on, or the Ravens could move on from him, or he could move on from the Ravens. But there is a chance that he might not be in black and purple next year. So a few other options if they wanted to go a different route. Edge rusher Chop Robinson, I think, is an elite athlete here with great traits. He has really great length and great athleticism that they could potentially develop. And then also a couple receivers. Xavier Legette is slowly becoming one of my more favorite project wide receivers, just simply because of his physical traits. He has good natural hands. He's a good natural athlete, and he is built like DK Metcalf and can run like him too. And then you have Roman Wilson, who is kind of the complete opposite of that. He's a little bit more of the true Z receiver that's going to come in and be your technician as a route runner. So I really like the receiver options here at 30 for them. Let's move on to their second pick here. They did lose Ben Powers last year in free agency, and I think they have another offensive lineman or 2 in free agency this year as well. Going and getting a guy like Cooper Beebe who can play both guard spots, I think would be fantastic. Keeping this offensive line in front of Lamar Jackson solid is going to be something of need. And also in this running game, getting, I think, a more traditional running game outside of just Lamar creating, I think is going to be important. And getting your running backs running downhill would be fantastic. And Cooper Beebe is a great all around guard here.
Yeah, and it's obviously Lamar Jackson's great at keeping himself upright, but I think it's more still even too without Lamar Jackson's legs. Still, the Ravens offense works through the ground, whether it be through Lamar Jackson or through set running plays. So getting back that offensive line dominance. Not saying that they weren't dominant this past year, but still just a good all five guys just being absolutely dominant as well. And you have Tyler Linderbaum has already taken a big chunk of that. He's one of the better centers in the entire league. So,
yeah.
But this is where it's like I think that they can go best player available as well as they missed on receivers, so I think they can maybe go Jermaine Burton here, who ended up going to Atlanta as well. If they want to address the defensive side of the ball a little bit more, there's still just some really good guys. I don't think they need to really address defense tackle or linebacker, but if they want to get Jeremiah Trotter, Brandon Dorless, those are just good guys, or even Leonard Taylor, just a couple of picks later. So they're in a good spot overall as a team and within their franchise as well. The types of players that they have, because they have great players overall, and so there's not too many holes that they need to fix, unless if they lose a lot of guys in free agency. Then that's a separate conversation. But let's move on though to the third round pick here. So we have them finally addressing the receiver position, going with a guy like Malachi Corley, a guy that you really like here. But we do still feel, because even if you look at it, like Zay Flowers was the guy last year from the receiving position. Even Odell Beckham Jr. was a big name, and then even some of the other guys, they were good role players. But if you're trying to bring in a game changer, I think you need to get somebody across from Zay Flowers to help out with Lamar Jackson in the passing game as well, and Zay Flowers also. So you're a big Malachi Corley fan. What do you like about him?
Yeah, so I will say the more and more I watch Malachi Corley and hear about him, I have him moving up my boards, probably late second round, early third. So getting him here at 93 would be tremendous value. But as a receiving prospect, he has really good hands, and he is a running back that plays receiver. So he's 5'11", 200, if not heavier, actually. And he just moves differently with the ball in his hands. He has great pad level. He can beat people with speed. He is just elusive in space and like just he breaks tackles. His nickname is the Yak King. And to me, what like I really see a Debo Samuel-esque rise in him, because I think when you watch him, he doesn't win down the field. And that's one of the things I think that has to be developed, and why he's not really talked about similar to an AJ Brown or a Debo in their respective draft class, because I think there's a lot better route runners in this class. However, there really is nobody better in this class at the wide receiver spot. Is like if you get the ball in his hands, he can make people miss. He can run over people. He can run around people. Like there's nobody really better, except maybe like Malik Neighbors, I think is a similar comp with the ball in his hands. But to me, if you get a guy like this here, I think you go on day 3, you could get a Luke McCaffrey. You could get one of the bigger X receivers left. You have your Zay Flowers, who wins down the field. We saw that plenty of times last year of him winning down the field. And then you have him, and then you still have this kind of gadget guy who has a lot of room to develop into a top wide receiver here. So I really like this pick. I think he fits so perfectly into this system, and he would allow Todd Monken to do a ton of great things with this offense.
Yeah. No, I think in a guy like him, and I know it's not the big like deep threat or like the big X receiver, but still though you pair him up then with Zay Flowers and then Lamar Jackson, obviously, and you can almost see them kind of competing against Miami for just the fastest team in the league. So
for sure.
I think that would be a lot of fun to watch. Let's wrap this up here with their day 3 picks overall. Do have them going with Audric Estime, running back out of Notre Dame, and then Christian Boyd kind of back to back as well with in their 4th round picks. They need to address the running back position. It sucks too because they have these really good running backs, but none of them can stay healthy. A lot of them too are just freak things, with J.K. Dobbins' Achilles, and then even Keaton Mitchell's ACL as well. So Gus Edwards, Justin Hill, they've been doing a good job over the past couple of years. We'll have to go and see if who they want to keep from those guys, but I think still addressing the running back position, I think it's going to be a good spot for them as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I was trying to find. We have the typo at the end. So Jalen Simpson, the cornerback. I'm trying to find who is at pick 226. Oh, we have Isaac Rex twice actually in there. So
Oh,
I guess we drafted him twice. But Jalen Simpson and Isaac Rex to kind of close out this class, just adding depth at some key positions. We saw Mark Andrews go down with an injury, and Isaiah Likely did a fantastic job filling in for him there. And then just kind of getting another guy in Isaac Rex that can come in and play. And then Jalen Simpson, again, probably a special teamer at this spot, but a guy that could potentially develop and have starter traits in the latter half of the draft, I think would be a really solid pickup there. So all in all, I
yeah,
think the Ravens are going to make their money in the first 3 rounds, like most teams. But I think when you look at the picks, Ennis Rakestraw can come in and contribute day one, and then Cooper Beebe come in contribute day one. Malachi Corley, I think, immediately has a role in this offense. How significant it is, I think, is up to how well Todd Monken can utilize him. But he has the skill set that projects to the next level, and I can't imagine what that would look like. You have Lamar Jackson potentially running anything from a quarterback draw to a halfback draw to a screen pass to Malachi Corley. Then you have Zay Flowers sprinting down the field, getting open down there. And so I really like what that would look like. So yeah, I like this draft for the Baltimore Ravens a lot.
yeah, same here.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of this Baltimore Ravens 7-round mock draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let us know what you would do differently. And on that, we will see you guys next time.